Hey guys, welcome back. Cell wall. It is the rigid covering outside the cell membrane in plant cells. This is the diagram of a plant cell. In this diagram, outside the cell membrane, this covering is called cell wall. Okay, so in this picture, this is cell wall, and this cell wall is composed of cellulose. Cellulose is a complex carbohydrate. It provides a structural strength to plants. Okay, now not only plant cells but also bacterial cells contain cell wall, and the bacterial cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan, and also fungi contain cell wall, and that fungal cell wall is made up of chitin. Chitin is a polysaccharide. Okay, I repeat this here. In case of plants, cell wall is made up of cellulose. In case of bacteria, cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan. And in case of fungi, the cell wall is made up of chitin. This chitin is a polysaccharide. So, cell wall is a rigid covering outside the cell membrane in the cells like plant cells, bacterial and fungal cells. Now, moving to the next. The primary wall. It is a thin, flexible and extensible layer formed while the cell is growing. Here, few plant cells are shown here, and this brown colored part which is shown in this diagram is the primary wall. Okay, it is thin, flexible and extensible layer, and it is formed while the cell is growing, and it is the cell wall of young plant cells. Now moving to the next, the secondary cell wall. Okay, and this is a thick layer formed inside the primary cell wall after the cell is fully grown. Okay, so as we discussed just now, this is a primary cell wall. Now inside this primary cell wall, okay, I will show this one more layer with a different color. Okay, so one more layer is growing inside like this. Okay, so this additional layer, okay, is now it is called secondary wall. Okay, and this secondary wall is not found in all the cells, but it is found in the conducting cells in xylem, okay, that provides, okay, strength and waterproof nature to the walls of the cells present in this xylem. The secondary walls are actually lignified, so they make the cells waterproof, and they provide strength to the cells present in the xylem. Now moving to the next, middle lamella. This middle lamella is present between the adjacent plant cells. If we look here, the same picture as I have shown you earlier, this yellow colored lining which is seen in these cells, okay, you can see here this is the middle lamella, okay, this is middle lamella, okay, this yellow colored lining which is present around the cell and which is present between the two cells. This is one plant cell, this is the another plant cell. Between the two plant cells, this is the middle lamella, okay. So middle lamella is present between two plant cells and it is mainly composed of calcium pectate, okay, and it holds or glues the different neighboring cells together, okay. And one more concept is plasmodesmata. These are the structures that connect the cytoplasm of neighboring cells. If we look here in a rough diagram, let's suppose this is one plant cell and this is another plant cell, okay, and here we find plasmodesmata. So plasmodesmata are connecting the cytoplasm of neighboring cells. Now moving to the next, algal cell wall, okay. Algal cell wall is made up of cellulose, galactans, mannans and minerals like calcium carbonate. So these chemicals are present in the cell walls of algal cells, okay. Now cell wall in other plants apart from algae, there are other plants like bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms. So in other plants, cell walls consist of cellulose, hemicellulose, pectins and proteins. So these are the different chemicals present in the cell walls of different plants. Now moving to the next, plasmolysis. It is shrinkage or contraction of the contents of the cell away from the cell wall in hypertonic external media. Here we can see the diagram of a plasmolysis, okay. This diagram explains plasmolysis process, okay. Here you can see this is a cell wall, okay, and the remaining part that is a protoplast, okay. So protoplast shrinks away from cell wall, okay. You can see here the cell wall is intact in its original place, but the other contents, they are shrinking. That process is called plasmolysis. So when a plant cell is kept in a hypertonic solution, because of exosmosis, water is removed out and the contents shrink, and this is what we find plasmolyzed plant cell, okay. Now moving to the next, turgidity in plant cells. This is the opposite situation. Cell walls permit the cells of plants, fungi and bacteria to withstand very dilute external media without bursting. This is an example of a turgid plant cell, okay. When plant cells are kept in hypotonic solution, okay, hypotonic solution has more water concentration when compared with cell cytoplasm, okay. So because of that, more and more water molecules enter into the cell than the number of water molecules leave the cell. So as a result, the cell becomes swollen, and that is what we call turgid plant cell, okay. The cells become turgid, okay. So this is seen in case of the cells that are placed in hypotonic solutions, okay. Now moving to the next, functions of cell wall, okay. Cell wall gives a shape to the cell, being an outermost covering in plant cells or bacterial or fungal cells. A cell wall is giving a definite shape to the cell, okay. It protects the cell from mechanical damage and infection by various pathogens. Okay, and also cell wall helps in cell to cell interaction and provides barrier to undesirable macromolecules which might enter the cell. So cell wall is acting like a barrier for the entry of undesirable macromolecules, and also cell wall allows water and dissolved substances to pass through it. Okay, so these are the functions of a cell wall.